are back with another video. Before we get into the video, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. So it looks like fans are hoping that Queen B comes back and throws shots at Nicki Minaj to defend her husband, Camel Face. Now, if you guys had not noticed, and you probably have, in the N0T remix that Nicki Minaj dropped, which is Wayne's song, she said the NFL needs to fire some niggas, and then basically the big three will perform at the Super Bowl. Okay, now this has sent a lot of fans, especially the Beehive, in a frenzy. They're not happy about what Nicki Minaj has said. Now, a Beehive member said when Beyonce stepped in and defend her husband, we don't want to hear ish. Now, if you guys remember, a lot of fans believe that, Queen B has sent shots, no pun intended, to Nicki Minaj before. Now, if you guys remember, in the Savage remix, which dropped the same day as the Say So remix, the remix Nicki Minaj did with D0JA, but unfortunately Savage did not go number one. But Queen B said Big B, and the B stands for bands. If you want to see some real ass, okay, because despite what the fans may say, Queen B says she is completely natural. Her ass is real. She said, if you want to see some real ass, baby, here's your chance. Now, in Trolls, Nicki Minaj responded, and in that song, she said that real ass ain't keep your nigga home. Okay, so they already has been throwing subliminal shots at each other before. So I can see Camel Face writing a bar for Beyonce and shading Nicki Minaj. Because at the end of the day, he can't go after Nicki and dish her on record. Why? Because she's a woman. It's going to look bad. Okay? He knows the optics are going to look bad. But he can write for Megan and Beyonce and throw shade at Nicki Minaj. That's what he can do. Okay? And who's going to check him? Nobody. Well, except for Onika Tanya Maraj. Another fan said that Nicki Minaj has been obsessed with Camel Face since she named her F-ass album The Pink Print. Camel Face needs a restraining order against that weirdo. What? They want Camel Face to get a restraining order on Nicki Minaj. That would not look good for her street credibility, okay? That would not look good for her street credibility. And she was paying homage, okay? She was paying homage to the blueprint. She wasn't stalking Camel Face. Y'all gotta stop. Another fan says she doesn't even have a good set for her album cover, but she wants to organize the Super Bowl, okay? No, she doesn't want to organize. She thinks that the big three should headline the Super Bowl. Artists don't organize anything, okay? They have companies that do that for them. Apple Music sponsors and pays for the stage production for the halftime Super Bowl. Like, y'all gotta stop, okay? But a lot of fans are not happy about this, and I do expect Queen B to throw some subliminal shade at Nicki Minaj, and Camel Face will write it, okay? Because he's written for Beyonce before. He writes all of her rap bars, okay? And she was rapping on that country album. Have y'all heard Spaghetti, where she won Album of the Year? So I can see her rapping on Act 3 and throwing some shade at Onika Tanya Maraj. Now, Cardi B is very much desperate. She sees that Nicki Minaj is getting a lot of shine, especially after this remix that she dropped. And Cardi B decided to tweet, I'm going live about Tlantic at 3. Then a fan responded and said, oh dear, what's happening? She said, I'm being tried by these new people and I'm not doing nothing no more. Now, some of the Cardi B fans are dragging Cardi B and Titanic Records. A fan said Cardi B thinks she can wait 8 years to drop an album and thinks she's still going to be Titanic's priority. No, B-word, you missed your chance. Album shelved. wow, her own fans are dragging her. Another fan said, Titanic Records, baby, please do not do this. Do not shelve Cardi B. So they're begging Titanic Records to give Cardi B a second chance after she basically wasn't dropping music, and she owes them a lot of money. Now, another fan said, I feel like she turned the album in, told them she wanted the lead single to be out of all of these songs she sent in. They said no, it needs to be outside because they seen the hype behind it. And that is partially the reason why she shelved, okay? Now, here's the thing. I think two things could be true. I do think that Cardi B intentionally announced that she was gonna expose Titanic Records and never did because she wanted the Barbs to talk about it. And it worked to a certain degree. But I also feel as though that Cardi B fans owe me a public apology on any platform, because I've been saying that Cardi B was shelved for years now. I've been saying it weekly. I've been getting nasty DMs, threats saying that I was lying, I'm a hater. Cardi B is going to be coming for me. She never did. Just like she ain't dropping the album. So I didn't understand why they was telling that lie. But with that being said, I was right yet again. Okay, because I've been saying for weeks now, for months, years, that Cardi B was shelved. So I do think two things could be true. But Cardi B fans were saying I was a hater. So I do want a public apology from them because I was telling the truth. And I actually think that Cardi B should get dropped by Titanic Records because she's not selling. So what's the point of being signed to a label if you're not selling no records? I think they should continue to drop her and sign new acts. Now, moving on to Shannon Not So Sharp. He publicly apologized to Nicki Minaj. I don't know if this is recent or not, but he apologized for not knowing who the fan was talking about when they said you should have Nicki on your show. He said, Nicki who? This is what he had to say about it.
Apologize, Nicki. That was not my intent. I thought they were talking about, I thought the person was talking about Nikki Haley. And I was more like, Nikki who? Why the hell she want to come on my pod?
Now, if you're wondering who Nikki Haley is, she was trying to run for president, okay? And I do believe that that probably was the case. You know, I don't believe he's lying because he did have Kamala Harris on his show, okay? So he already interviewed really big political candidates on the show. So I believe it 100%. Plus, he only like white women. And Nikki Haley's white. So I know the first Nikki that he think of is not going to be a black woman. Let's be very clear. He don't date black women. He don't like black women. He like them white. Okay? And with that being said, I'm not shocked. Do I think Nikki should forgive him? Yeah, I don't think she should go on his show though. Okay? One strike, you're out. You know, when I think of Nicki, I think of Nicki Minaj, Nicki the Ninja, Nicki the Howard Duke of Barbie, you know, but I wasn't going to vote for Nikki Haley, no way. I wasn't even thinking about that hoe, okay? But when you like white women, you're going to think about her instead of Nicki Minaj, okay? So we do got to take that into account considering that he does have a white woman fetish. Should Nicki give him a second chance? No, I don't think so. Only reason because I feel like even when he interviewed Megan Thee Stallion, he interviewed Ckiminaj, you can definitely see that in those interviews that he don't mess with Nicki like that. Nicki Minaj, okay? He's definitely team Meg or Cardi. And I think he's only team Megan, even though she's a black woman, because of her ties to Devil Nation, Camel Face. Okay, I think he thinks he can get a camel face interview if he's nice to her artists. So that's the only reason why I think he really team Meg, because you can tell in the Ckiminaj interview, he was really trying to subliminally diss Nicki Minaj. But with that being said, I think the reason why he's doing that is because he wants to get close to Camel Face. Okay, he wants that Camel Face interview. So I believe he's always going to distance himself or act funny with Nicki Minaj because he wants to get close to Camel Face's chest. Now, here comes No Spice popping out of the blue because Nika Tanya Mirage dropped to preview some more trash music. Sounds like the same bullshit she's been putting out since she popped out. Okay, since she became mainstream. Ice Spice, go sit the fuck down. Okay, first of all, you didn't even have to preview that. You only did that because Nicki Minaj is back. Let's be very fucking clear. That sounds like everything else you have put out. I mean, these bitches are jokes. They really are clowns. How you gonna try to preview music because you see the queen is back, knowing your shit is trash? Go sit down, 500,000 lashings for no spice. Now, fans are also calling out Big D0JA, okay? As we know, D0JA Cat previewed some pictures for her next era, insinuating that she was dropping soon, okay? And there has been a lot of speculation that she was supposed to drop this Friday. Allegedly, that won't be happening now, especially since Onika Tanya Mirage has dropped. But with that being said, a fan said almost 3 months in, and we're still got nothing. What was the point of posting these pictures of a new era if you're not going to actually start it? This is even disrespectful to the fans themselves who were excitedly waiting for news and to date have nothing. Okay? Well, here's the thing with D0JA Cat. I think D0JA Cat is trying to make sure she puts out the right single because y'all let the singles that she did drop this year, y'all let it flop. So we gonna act like the Whack Harlow and D0JA Cat record, which had a big push, playlisting, a music video, didn't flop. We gonna act like that Ray collaboration that she did with Lisa didn't flop. Okay? Y'all don't support nothing. Y'all complain, but don't support nothing. I'm so sick and tired of the kitty litters. Y'all take D0JA for granted. Y'all didn't support the records that she put out. So with that being said, she probably thinking like, damn, like, is my solo music gonna chart? Because at the end of the day, the collaborations I put out don't chart. So is my solo music gonna chart? She probably second guessing herself like Cardi B's been doing for the last 10 years. Because y'all don't support nothing, but y'all want to complain on social media. But I do think, D0JA Cat should drop, at least that Jealous type song that she's been teasing. I feel like that song has been making some noise, creating some buzz on TikTok. So I think she should definitely release that song at least. Okay? Release a single, test the waters, and see if the people like it. Now, moving on to Megan Thee Stallion. Tori's team is telling people that he is coming home soon. Okay, let's take a listen.
You have an update for us today on the Tori Lane's case that has not been released yet.
Yes, for who I am and what I know and the system that I am involved in, Tori Lanez will be freed this year.
Well, Tori is getting free. Do you think it could be like this summer?
It will be soon.
I'm gonna be
Haters
honest.
are gonna hate.
Tori,
but it doesn't matter. I put together this team, and I knew that when Tori was innocent, I was very strategic about the people that I put together, and I knew it was going to take people that understood California and the process there. Everybody's victims in this situation. Nobody has won from this. And I don't care what anyone else says. I care about what the evidence says. He is innocent.
So how is he doing now since he's recovering from the stabbing? How's he doing?
He's doing good. He's in good spirits.
Can he fully walk normal?
Yeah, he can walk normal. And he's recovering well.
Yo, he's recovering well. Imagine being stabbed that many times.
No, it is God's hand in Tori's life because Tori is mentally very strong.
Now, that was Diana London, who is or was a former congresswoman. And she is saying that Tori is coming home this year. Now, does Devil Nation know that? Okay. Here's the thing. I want Tori Lane's team to stop talking and walk the walk. And what I mean by that is they keep giving us updates, but we don't see really no action. Has the appeal been approved? Has the new evidence or the suppressed evidence been added to the appeal? Like, how is he gonna get out if his appeal isn't getting approved? And the governor of California has bigger fish to fry. You see what's going on in California. I do not think the governor of California cares about what Tori Lanez is up to or what's going on with Tori Lanez. Let's just be honest. There's a lot more stuff he got to worry about. So I'm wondering, I would have asked if I was interviewing this lady, how are you going to get him free? What's going on with the appeal? What's going on with, the governor? Have you guys reached out to the governor, considering that y'all did the petition and y'all asking for him to get pardoned? So that's what I would have asked, okay? Because I feel as though they say a bunch of things, but there's no action to back it up. I get it. They made that website with the suppressed evidence that they could not show in court, but they really got to put that in the appeal. Making a website is not going to do nothing. So that's my thing. I'm like, how is he going to get freed if his appeal is denied and the governor of California is ignoring him? How is he getting freed? I'm very intrigued to see what their plan is. And they keep saying they have a plan, but we need y'all to showcase it because y'all running out of time. Okay? You guys got to get him free and send him back to Canada before Devil Nation gets a hold of him again. Okay? If he got stabbed 14 times, he was getting taken out. They gonna be coming for Tori. So y'all need to get him freed expeditiously, and then he gotta stay in Canada. Now, fans are calling out Sabrina Carpenter, the thirst bucket. They are not happy with her album cover. Her new album coming out, I think it's August 29th. Okay? So maybe 2 months, right? With that being said, a fan said, thinking about how hair pulling was one of the first forms of violent misogyny me and many other women faced as young girls. I really hope this is not the album cover. It feels deeply irresponsible. Now, I don't know if, she was aware that people would be offended by this art cover. To me, I feel like she was just trying to be sexy. And it seems as though Sabrina is getting a little bit male-centered. Because it seems as though at her shows, she has to do sex positions instead of actually dancing. Throughout her concert, the only thing that goes viral when it comes to a Sabrina concert is when she do her sex positions on stage in front of children. Now, some fans are saying that it's satire, because the title of the album, I believe, is called A Man's Best Friend, and which would be like a dog technically. Or basically she's saying that men treat women like pets. Okay? So some fans are saying that it's satire with a lot of symbolism, and I feel like the art cover is not that great in my opinion. No shade. Now, moving on from that, a lot of fans are in an uproar, or I guess making a big stink about Polifi moving the monthly listeners from the top of an artist's profile. It is only visible in the artist's bio, okay? So they moved where the monthly listeners are for artists, and, a lot of people want to know why. Now, in my opinion, I feel like it's not really a big deal because monthly listeners do not affect the charts. It doesn't affect the artist any way, shape, or form. It's how many streams that an artist gets from a song that they put out. And if bots get removed from the streams, okay, which was happening a few months ago. So, people are talking about monthly listeners. Monthly listeners fluctuate, okay? That depends on if an artist has a hot song out, it's going to go up. And if they don't, it's going to go down, okay? But them streams, when the bots get removed, that's what really counts. That's what the label cares about. So I don't know why people care about the monthly listeners. I don't even look at that on any artist. Okay. If I like a song, I like a song, but I think the streams is what really counts. That determines if you get a budget from a label, if you get a lot of streams on a song. That determines if you can re-sign your contract with a label. Streams and buying music counts more than monthly listeners, okay? Because the label don't get paid if you have a certain amount of monthly listeners. They get paid via streams and people buying music and concert tickets, okay? So people focusing on the wrong damn thing like usual. But anyway, I got some very hot tea on Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively on Patreon. Link will be in the description, and have a great day.